All right, this is a pre-training video, and this pre-training video is kind of going to give you the framework of what the next training video is going to be able to do for you. So we're going to start off by when you click on the link in the email, you're probably going to be brought to a page like this, which is YouTube, and it will start playing a video for you. And you can see how on my screen this video is currently playing. Now, one of the great things about YouTube, this works on a computer or on a phone, is there's this little box on the bottom right. It's a square and it's got little breaks in between each side, and that's the full screen. So what I like to do whenever I'm watching a video is I go to full screen. So I can see it's much clearer. I can see exactly what's going on. You'll be able to see the cursor move. Usually there'll be identifications like it'll draw your attention to certain places. And you should have audio because you'll be hearing me talking to you. Now, it's important to know that when you move your cursor, you'll see the controls for the video, just like you would see controls for like a VHS or a DVD, and you can pause at any time. You can also see this little red line right here. You can take that little dot, click on it, and move it back. If you miss something and replay it, you can also move it forward. If you're tired of watching this stuff and you want to jump to a certain area, oh, this is where I want to be, and you can click play again. And you can then control the video so that it's meeting your needs. Never feel like you can't pause a video. That's why it's a video, so we can control it. So you pause it. If you need it to be repeated, just drag that puppy back and then have it play it again and repeat it. All right, so that's how you use videos. To get out of the full screen mode, at the bottom right, you can see that this square has gotten all funky, and now it's like the corners of each square. And if I click on that one, it goes small again. Or on my keyboard, if I click the escape key, it goes small again. So that's how you use videos. Okay. Now, what we're going to be learning is how to create tags on images. And I want to talk to you a little bit about what a tag is, because if you understand what a tag is, this all becomes a real simple task. So let's start off with why we have tags. And it's really a way of categorizing, I'm going to say the internet. Google was one of the big players in the early days, as well as I think Alta Vista and I remember Ask Jeeves and stuff like that. So Google created a way of categorizing the internet. And so if I wanted to find something like, for example, Morgan Hill Rotary, I just type that in Google. And what Google does is it has scanned cajillions of web pages, however many web pages there are. It's constantly scanning web pages and indexing the content of the web pages, meaning the words in the web pages, so that when I type Morgan Hill Rotary, it's giving me those web pages that have the closest results to that. And we see, oh wow, I've got, I recognize this page. This is our Club Runner. There's Club Runner. We got morganhillrotary.org. We got a Facebook page. So it knows where to go. In the early days, though, they didn't have that, and they relied on these little tags. And one of the tags used to be called keywords. Web developers would just type the keywords, and the search engines would look at those keywords and say, "Oh, that's what this site is about." Unfortunately, people took advantage of that and started trying to manipulate the system by putting keywords that were associated with one thing on a site that had nothing to do with that. Now, that works for the internet. But have we ever seen that in our history before? And the answer is absolutely. We've seen it in books. I know that's going to sound weird, but in books, we have a way of categorizing information. So, for example, in a book, we have a table of contents. Now, if we were to try to create the analogy between how does a table of contents relate to what we're going to be doing with our photos, a table of contents is kind of like what an album would be like in our photos. It's a storage of information. The title of the table of contents, like Welcome to Office 2010 in this example, is kind of like information that's a storage of that information. You'll be able to read about that one. Now, on the other hand, if you wanted to find a specific piece of information, let's say on a very specific person's name, you wouldn't go to the table of contents. You would go to what's called the index. And so now here I can see like, I don't even, AGEE Michael is on page 223 to 224 and 225. So we've always had this. It's not like it's new. We've had table of contents and indices or index, and each one of these indices would be equivalent to what a tag is. Or remember the early days of the internet was a keyword. We're going to call it a tag. What is a tag? Well, there is a definition for that, pup. And we're just going straight off the definition in the dictionary here. A tag is a label attached to something or someone for the purpose of identification or to give other information. So tag is nothing special that has anything to do with the internet. It's just a normal term that we're going to tag something and we're going to label it, okay? So that's what we're building as tags. You've probably heard that word tag an awful lot, and that comes in the word of a hashtag. Oh, I mean, if we haven't gotten enough of that one. So a hashtag is something that you might have heard on Twitter, and it has a lot to do with the fact that it uses the number sign as the initial symbol. See how it's got that number sign? So as it turns out, in the Oxford Dictionary, we in America may call that the pound sign or the number sign, but over in Europe, they call it a hash. And so therefore, any tag that's in the format of hash, Jim Carrillo, is called a hash tag. It's as brilliant as it gets, right? Twitter started using that, and many of the other blogs that are out there use that as well, because it allows the person that's writing the little message, the Twitter post, or whoever's writing their blog, to just add their own tags at will. Now, the problem comes in with how does a hashtag know if I put Jim space Carrillo, if that was my hashtag, the computer would get confused because is the hashtag Jim? Is the hashtag Jim Carrillo, or is it what's the space doing? And so by definition, the way that the internet searches have all come to make sense of everything is whenever it sees a space, it has to assume that you meant to create a separate tag. So in Twitter, they say you can never have a space in a hashtag. That's why hashtags look like this, all one word, hashtag Jim Carrillo, or hashtag gotta get some food. It's all one long word because a space would mess things up. That's not just in Twitter. Matter of fact, if we went over to here's an example. If we went over to Google and searched hiring skilled labor, in the same way, Google is thinking we're looking for 3 different words: hiring, skilled, labor. And if I scroll down and look at the results, you'll see that in this first result, this says hire and skilled labor, but kind of separated. This one, let's see, skilled labor jobs. This one just says skilled labor. It doesn't have the word hire. So you can see that, and this one has hiring. When you put the spaces between the words, these search engines or the ability to search for information thinks you're entering 3 separate words. Or when our pictures are created, it's 3 separate tags. On the other hand, if I put the quotes around it, those quotes tell any search system, I want to look for the words hiring space skilled space labor. And let's take a look at those results. See, you can see on this result, hiring skilled labor. This one says hiring skilled labor, hiring skilled labor. So using a tag with spaces, if you intend on creating these 3 separate tags, it's an easy way to go. On the other hand, if you're intending to create a single tag, like hiring skilled labor, we need to put quotes around it. Why does this make any difference? Because when it comes to people's names, it makes a lot of difference. If I was looking for Jim, or let's go Chris Foster. Chris Foster, right? What this is going to do is it's going to look for the word Chris, and it's going to look for the word Foster. Maybe I don't want to see all the Fosters, or maybe I don't want to see all the Chris's. Maybe I only want to look for one Chris Foster. So if I put a tag of Chris Foster with quotes on it, then I can guarantee I'd be able to search for Chris Foster. All right, so that's the concept of what a tag is. That is just simply a way to categorize information, to identify information. It's a tag. How it relates to the Twitter hashtag, and why in some cases you don't want any spaces. Twitter doesn't even allow you to put the quotes in it. You just have to have no spaces. In other systems, like in our Flickr account, we're able to create tags with multiple words as long as we put them in quotes. Hope that helps.